standing for something so strong. It creates a movement legacy as a natural byproduct of truth. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is The Black Sheep Becomes the Goat. We're diving into one of the most pivotal phases in the journey to becoming the goat, standing for something so undeniably true, so anchored in your essence, that it creates a movement around you. This isn't about trend chasing or performing for recognition. This is about living in such alignment with your truth that it naturally compels change, shifts energy, and shifts others. It's not something you force, it's something you become. Your truth, embodied so deeply, starts to pull the universe in your direction. People listen, they follow. They become activated by the frequency you're holding. Not because you're louder, not because you're pushing for it, but because you're living in alignment, and that resonance is undeniable. When you become this aligned, you stop fighting for a place in the world. You stop wondering whether or not you're enough. You stop explaining yourself to others. You stop hoping to be chosen. Instead, you realize you are the one who chooses. And when you choose to stand for something powerful enough, something beyond yourself, you don't just create a life of impact, you create a movement. This shift isn't about being perfect or popular. It's about being unwavering in your authenticity. When you stand for something true, something that you know in your bones is real, the world begins to follow. Your truth becomes the seed that sprouts into something bigger than you could have ever planned. And as it grows, it forms the foundation of your legacy. Legacy is the byproduct of authenticity. The most powerful thing you can do on this journey is stop trying to be someone else. Stop trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. Stop chasing validation from places that never understood you. Instead, stand firm in your authenticity, in your truth. And let that truth be your guide. Authenticity is magnetic, and it doesn't need to shout to be heard. When you embrace who you truly are, you attract others who are also looking for truth, clarity, and purpose. You don't have to beg for space. You create it. And in that space, your authenticity builds a legacy. This legacy isn't something you seek. It's something that forms naturally when you live in alignment with your values. It's not constructed from popularity or fleeting recognition. It's built from your consistent ability to stay true to yourself, no matter the obstacles. In time, as you continue to embody your truth, others will begin to take notice. Not because they're looking for someone to lead, but because they're looking for something real. They're looking for a reference point, and your authenticity provides that. The legacy you build will be a result of the example you set through your own transformation. It will be a byproduct of your commitment to living your truth unapologetically. Leading without looking back. The quiet power of moving forward. When you step into your full power, you'll notice something. You no longer need to justify your decisions. You don't need anyone's approval or permission. You lead from your truth, not your insecurities. And that kind of leadership doesn't look for recognition. It doesn't seek the spotlight. It simply holds space for what is true. And as it does, it shifts everything around it. Most people who are not yet in alignment with their truth will try to keep you in the same spaces where you once existed, spaces that you outgrew. They'll call you back to familiar patterns, familiar roles. But your leadership doesn't need validation from those places. It doesn't need them to approve or understand you. You move forward, regardless. This is what makes the GOAT different. They don't stop to check if everyone's on board. They don't wait for the approval of the people who couldn't see their vision. The GOAT knows that real change requires moving forward without looking back. It's not about closing doors, but about stepping into a future that requires your full energy, your full clarity, and your full alignment. When you stop looking back, you create the space to lead forward. And leadership, real leadership, isn't about what you control. It's about what you catalyze. When you hold space for others to step into their own power, your leadership becomes magnetic. And that magnetism becomes the foundation of your movement. Spiritual entrepreneurship and GOAT work, building systems. Outside their system. Part of being the GOAT is understanding that you aren't just breaking away from old systems, you're building new ones. And these systems are rooted in your authentic truth. They are based on principles you've cultivated, the wisdom you've gained, and the energy you've embodied. Spiritual entrepreneurship doesn't follow the conventional rules. It creates its own. It builds foundations based on spiritual laws, intuition, and alignment, not on manipulation, power dynamics, or external validation. It's about creating from a place of deep knowing. And as you build, you don't just create for yourself, you create systems that impact others. Systems that grow and evolve beyond your direct influence. When you step into this space, you stop looking at the old systems for guidance. You stop measuring your success against the yardsticks they've provided. Instead, you begin to understand that your work is about energy exchange. It's about creating space for others to step into their own power, just as you have. You're not here to impose your will on the world. You're here to offer your truth and let that truth resonate with those who are ready to receive it. In the realm of spiritual entrepreneurship, the movement you create becomes bigger than any single product or offering. It's about the values you embody, the energy you transmit, and the example you set. The GOAT builds systems that align with their core truth, and by doing so, they create opportunities for others to align with their own. Mentoring, the new black sheep. Becoming what you once needed. As you rise, you begin to realize that part of your legacy is not just what you create for yourself, but what you create for others. This is where the real magic of the GOAT happens. You begin to mentor the new generation of black sheep. You become the mentor you once needed, the one who guides others through the darkness, the uncertainty, and the awkwardness of their own becoming. This doesn't mean you have to fix them. It means you create space for them to find their own power. You show them the path by walking your own. You speak truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's not accepted by the masses. And in doing so, you create a new wave of empowerment. Becoming what you once needed means offering tools, insight, and guidance, but not giving away your power. You show them that they don't need to seek approval. They don't need to fit into old molds. They need to create their own. And that message, one of personal empowerment and sovereignty, becomes the foundation of your legacy. When you mentor the new black sheep, you're not just helping them survive, you're helping them thrive. You're helping them realize that their originality is their highest service, and that by embodying it, they can create something even bigger than they ever imagined. Your gift was the difference. Why your originality is your highest service. Your gift isn't just for you, it's for the collective. You didn't come here to be ordinary. You came here to be an origin point for something bigger. And it's through your originality, your courage to be different, that the world begins to shift. Your authenticity is the spark that lights the fire for others to step into their truth. Your originality is not a flaw, it's your highest service. It's the key to your legacy. When you stand in your truth and refuse to conform, you give others permission to do the same. And in that ripple effect, the world begins to change. Your authenticity doesn't just impact you, it impacts everyone in your orbit. It influences how they see themselves, how they engage with their own gifts, and how they choose to live. The black sheep becomes the GOAT because they refuse to compromise their truth. And by doing so, they create a legacy that isn't about fame or fortune, it's about alignment, impact, and transformation. Standing for something so true that it creates a movement isn't a simple feat. It's the result of years of self-discovery, personal growth, and unwavering commitment to authenticity. It's not about following a formula. It's about trusting yourself enough to embody your own truth. And when you do that, when you finally step into the full expression of who you are, you won't just create a movement, you'll create a legacy. Your legacy isn't just what you do, it's who you are. And when you live in alignment with your truth, you give others permission to do the same. That's how the GOAT becomes iconic. Not by seeking approval, but by being unwavering in the truth they were born to live. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and what you just watched is part of my signature program, the Chosen One series inside School of Soul. This series is not just a course, it's a blueprint for those who know they were different from the start. The black sheep, the scapegoat, the truth teller, the cycle breaker. Inside, you'll discover the family roles playbook, the golden child, the scapegoat, the enabler, the lost child, and how to finally step out of the part you were cast in without consent. How the black sheep becomes the GOAT, turning rejection into radical transformation and leadership. How to break generational curses and rewrite ancestral contracts so the pain stops with you. And how to recognize and escape modern forms of spiritual and technological targeting, from gang stalking to synthetic synchronicity. This isn't just about survival. It's about awakening, about reclaiming your voice, your lineage, and your destiny as one of the chosen ones. Click the link below to access the full series now, because the role ends the moment you decide it does, and the real script begins with you.